Hello and welcome to this first live hangout. So basically, a little bit of backfill. I started. I wanted to do a build video. Was the original intention, and the idea was I would pick a very basic kit, and I would then proceed to build it with the items that I got with the kit or with the bare minimum of equipment, as a beginner would, and I would go from there. So I did keep getting this we. I started off with the kit. I started off with everything, got everything together. I picked a Spitfire. I took it off the sprue, and there's bits missing here. Oh, there they are. I put the pilot on the seat. I painted in the cockpit, inner cockpit, and I put the propeller on and the spinner. It was at this point I realised I had not pressed start record broadcast on the hangout, so unfortunately you saw none of that. So this is going to be a bit of a recap, really, just to get things going and go over quickly what I was doing. So basically, when you get a kit, it will come like this. Obviously it'll have a box. This one didn't, unfortunately, but it'll have a box, and then it'll come with some glue. Now, depending on its age, it may come with something like this, which is this is a very old one, and it's just basically a cement. It's very messy, but that's one option there, and we'll have a look at that in detail in a minute. Or it could come with this. This is more likely, and you basically just pop that top off there and you can dispense smaller amounts, much more cleaner and efficient than the cement. Then you've got choices outside of what will come with your kit. Starting with probably the most famous one, which is known as TET, and that's just Tamiya extra thin cement. If you're going to get into building, then you're almost certainly going to want to buy this. It's much cleaner, much more. You can control it much better than you can with the other two. It's faster drying. And they also do an even faster drying one, which they call quick setting TET, and you can tell the difference by the top coloured lid. Then they do a thicker one, which I've only just got hold of, so I haven't had a chance to practice with this or use it in any way. But I believe this is a thicker one, probably more slower in setting, but I'm led to believe it's a stronger joint, so there's that. And then you can buy other ones further. This one, which is absolutely awful, but it's Contact to Liquid Special by Revel. There's fuck all special about it. It's stringy, awful to use. It really is. When it comes out, it's just yeah, it's not very nice at all. But I got that in a job lot with some stuff. I should probably throw it away, really. But it might come in handy at some point. I'm terrible for hoarding stuff. So there we go. Those are the glues that you'll come across. Now we're going to concentrate firstly on this one. And we've done some gluing. We glued this little chap into his seat. And basically, your best method with this is to find something such as an old bottle top, you know, something like that, and then literally dispense an amount into the lid. So you've got your amount in there, and then let's put the chappy in the fuselage. So let me just find the kit that we're on. I think we're the Spitfire. It's fairly close to what we need, and what we'll do is we'll just pop a stabilizer on the back, because I don't really want to. I want to clean a join on that on the cockpit. So you get something like a cockpit cocktail stick. Fucking hell, what am I talking about? Cockpit. Oh dear Lord, it's all going downhill from here. And we'll put a small amount on there, and then you find your the piece that you need. Incidentally, you probably would have got this ready to begin with, but now then, what was I using before? Because you would only have toenail clippers, side cutters, something along those lines. Now I'm thinking that almost certainly in the house you would have a craft knife of some sort. So I suppose it's cheating a little bit. I'm going to use a modelling knife. Well, it's just a sharp blade really, and you're going to need a sharp blade to get these pieces off. When you get more into it, you can buy sprue cutters, such as the Xuron cutters here. They're a good investment. They are a bit expensive. They're around, I think they're around £15–16 a pair. And then they've got the professional set as well. They're very good. You get a nice clean cut with them. I don't recommend using toenail clippers at all. You're much better off going out and buying yourself a little Stanley blade or a box cutter or something like that. The toenail cutters, they'll cut a concave sort of shape. You're not going to get close to the piece. You're going to damage the plastic, and the overall finish is going to be effective. So not a good idea at all. So with this, all you want to do is get fairly close to your edge of your piece, but you don't want to be right on top of it in case you do any damage to the plastic. So a little bit away from it, and then when you bring it up and have a look, you'll notice there are two, or depending on your sprue gates, you'll feel them, you'll see them. There's little lugs. You can see that one there where it's come off, and also one there, but they're away from the actual piece itself. Now, depending on how proficient you are with the knife, and if you're young, please don't try this without adult supervision. You can just very carefully trim it back like so, and then come round to this one and also trim it back. And then what you need then is a little nail file. I've got a range of buffers and sanders. When you get further into the model, one of the first things you'll buy will be a range of sanders and buffers. They come in various grits. The ones I use are made by Ultimate Modeling Products. I have used other ones. They don't work as well overall for me. I think these offer the best value for money. They're extremely durable. They're washable. Although I don't wash them in water as such, I tend to just tap them on a shirt, an old shirt, and just sort of rub them like that, and most of your debris in there will come away. As I say, they offer excellent value for money, and you can get these at UMP. Let me just think. So it's not UMP Retail. Is it UMPRetail.com? UMPRetail.com. We'll go with that. And if that doesn't get you there, just Google Ultimate Modeling Products and you'll find the address. But you won't have them at the moment if you're just starting out. You're probably going to have something like this, or your sister, your mother, or your dad, I don't know. You'll have something like this. It's a very coarse, but we're going to try and keep within what you've got so that we can demonstrate that you can get a perfectly good kit, or you can build a perfectly good kit with the minimum of tools. Now be very, very careful, extremely lightly with this, because it will it's very abrasive. We don't want to rub off any of this detail either on the if you have a close look on here, you can see there's quite a bit of detail on the control surfaces. We don't want to go blindly shaving that away, so very, very careful. And of course, in the real world, the glue wouldn't have been put on yet, and if we had put it on earlier, it would have all dried out. So let's try that again. And sort of dried out in there. I don't like the plastic cement. It's a horrible thing. It takes too long to dry, in my opinion, and I bet I've got the wrong side. Let me just see. I think we're okay. Yep, just double check the drawing. And there we go. And that's how you would use the best way of using polycement. But it's not very nice stuff, so we're not going to use that. Next up, we will try with the Revel Contactor Professional. This stuff is a lot better. You can use it for filling in gaps and such, and you get better results with it. So on this occasion, we're now going to try and put the driver, or pilot and driver, not a golf club. We're going to put him in his seat. We're going to put him in his place. So first of all, what you want to do is just pop that in. Just pop that in and have a look and see whether it looks okay, feels okay. And this is called dry fitting. Why is it called dry fitting? Well, obviously, well, maybe not so obviously. There's no glue yet involved, so it can all be dismantled at any point. And the joint is dry, hence the name. I'm just seeing whether that that'll fit on there, or whether it's got to go under there. I think it might have to go. Yeah, it's got to go underneath. Excellent. Now I haven't painted the pilot. Now there is a reason for this. The pilot is very, very, very tiny. The detail in it is very soft. It's going to be extremely difficult to paint him given the tools that we're going to have available to us. I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's not impossible. I would say that it's probably not within my realms to make a competent job of it. So I'd really rather not paint him than paint him and have it looking a mess. He's only in that seat because I was demonstrating the glue. I don't normally put pilots in my builds unless they're of a much bigger size so that I can make a decent job of them. So that's why he's not been painted. We're not really going to see him once the canopy goes up. And what I'll probably do is I may see whether I can do something when I spray the outside. Maybe just leave the canopy open and just spray over him, and then go in there and just add a bit of pink tinge to the face and maybe a little splodge of brown on the top for his hair. That's not the proper way of doing it, I should add. That's just in case anyone's watching and saying, oh no, you can't. So with this stuff, very easy. We just apply a little run of it along there where it's got to go, tiny little bit, and then you just pop this piece in. Grab all of it. Just going in there like that. Now then, we're going to need to join this up fairly quickly. So we've got 33 is dropping in there. The front propeller does not get glued. There's a black block on the instructions, so that's telling me not to glue this, and that's going to sit over there. And then we've got another half that's going to come in there. Again, we're doing a dry fit just to see how this goes together. Yeah, so we've got a good fit, considering this is such an old kit. Yeah, okay, yeah, we've got a good fit there. So now I'm going to show you you've seen how this works. Now this is where TET comes into its own. So with the tube of poly cement, we would have to go along and spread some of the cement on the side there, and then press and clamp everything together. And that's how you would do it with the poly cement. With the Revel contactor, as you've seen, we would literally run a bead along the side and then push the two halves together. With both of them methods, the minute you push the two halves together, it's like jamming bread. It will all squirt out depending on how much you use, and you know, then you've got all the cleanup involved of getting it off the bodywork. Now this is where TET comes in, because you can literally with TET just release the pressure on the hold a minute, and then literally just drop a little bead down the center there, and then that just knit that together. Come down here, do the same. Gap's a bit too big there. If it wasn't, it would have just run down. Just hold that for a few seconds. We've missed a piece. Oh dear. Let's just leave that there for a second. I'll do underneath in a moment. I've just got to find 733. There we go. There we go. Number 7 should have dropped in. The top there. Let me just have a look how that would have gone in. I'm trying to work without tweezers because I don't think you don't get tweezers with the kits as far as I'm aware. I've got that wrong. So, we've got a little. Let's see where you go. Little mistakes been made there, but just rectify that. I can get. Got sausage fingers. Got to try and get this piece that I forgot to put in. I've got to. Oh, that's it. Slot that into there. See, and again with this, now this is somewhere where the quick dry might be a useful method. We can just add a little dot onto that, and that will hold that in place. Now, so now we're going to go back to the what you would be given rather than the method I just used, because otherwise we'd be cheating. So we'll put a little drop on each of the location tabs. And a piece there. And then we'll just run a little bit along the seam. Don't get too close to areas where you don't want it going off near the propeller, because that's not got to turn. Just want to make sure that I haven't missed anything. No. Pop the propeller back. And then pop that back and then close it up again. And there we go. If you've got any areas where it's lifting out a bit, sorry, I need to get a bit closer. Any areas there where it's sort of, you can see there's a gap at the bottom, just come along, very small amount. Very small amount in behind it. And then you want to seal that like that. If you can, get a clothes peg or elastic bands. They work just as well. Be careful that wherever you put an elastic band, if you're wrapping it around the fuselage to keep them together, that you don't put them over any glue, because you'll glue them to the fuselage. So you can use a clamp like so, or another common method is to use some tape. And I think, to be honest, I don't think we need to use tape on this, but just to demonstrate it, I'm going to put a little bit on just to show you. And so we've got some tapes. These are available from variety of places, not B&Q as such, because they're really wide. You need the narrow tapes. Now you can just come along and you just hold it together like so, and put a pinch of tape around it just to nip it all together. And like I say, this doesn't need it, so I'm just demonstrating there. Now, just to show you, tapes come in a variety of sizes and formats. So we've got that size. We've got the white Tamiya tape, which goes around corners. You can bend it. Then we've got some thinner tape. Which is handy for getting into little nooks and crannies and such, like that. And then we've got this for the ultimate control when it comes to small pieces and cockpits and things like that. We've got the Azu micro masking tape, and although that packet looks empty, it isn't, because I thought that was just a yellow circle, but that is actually the tape. And look how thin that is. That is actually 0.4 millimeters. This tape is available from umpretail.com, and I think that was about, I think that might have been around £4. I'm not certain on that. There's a whole range of them though, so pop along, give them a look, get the ones you want. But if I were to be buying them, I would definitely get a small one like that. I would definitely get one like that, and I would get one intermediate as well like that. So you know, they will all come in handy. You can never have too much tape. So there we go. That's that. If you were planning on doing the elastic band, then quite simply you get a smaller one than this. You just keep twisting and turning and keep going over and over and continue until you've got a nice tight fit. And that'll hold that together like that. Let's just pop over because we still haven't sealed the pilot in completely on that side. So we're just going to run a bead down in the center there, and then just pop him in like that. Keep that nip together for the second, and on that one we'll use the clamp. So you can see the clamp in action. Clamp's probably a bit too much for that little joint actually. And that's the trouble with this tape. It's with this sort of cement, it's extremely messy. You've only got to get your fingers near it with the vapor, and the vapor off it is enough to imprint your fingerprints into the plastic. So I'm not really a fan of using it. Back in the day, it was pretty much all you had. That and the awful poly cement, which I've got tons of that. They keep giving me it with the kits, especially Airfix and some Rebel kits. Another thing you want to remember is always, in between gluing, to pop your lid back on there. So there we go. Let's see. Knit that together. Propeller still turns. This really is going to be quite a quick build. Apologies for the laughing upstairs. This is not a house of fun. Sounds like a mad witch. I shall have to edit that bit out. Edit that bit out and put the phrase in. She sounds like a glorious angel. So, then we get to, right, we've got that one done. Now we're going to pop this other rear stabilizer, because otherwise it's going to be a little bit like me, a bit wonky, with only one wing. So again, we use the horrible file. We manage with what we do. Now we've got this, so this one should work a lot better. Run a little bead in there. And just slot that on there like that. And now we're going to cut the wings off the sprue. So again, taking care with the craft knife. I wonder, is there any way I can get in a bit closer so that you can actually see what I'm doing. Let me try that, see whether that's any better. So again, as close as we can without going too close. Let's just nip that there. If you're not too sure, always double check before you go in and cut. And what it's a good practice to do, have a good look at the join, cross-reference it with the picture. So, for example, here, if you're new, you would be thinking, is that part of this wing, or is that part of this sprue? So, what we do is we look at the picture. We can see that on the picture, sorry about that, we had an interruption. So we can see that the wing does not have the same join on it there. It's slightly different. So what can we do? So we'll just nip that off there. And then we'll try, if possible, when you're cutting, to cut away from the part, not cut into the part. If you cut into the part, there's a risk of damaging it. So we'll just cut away, that piece out. Piece out. There we go. And then we'll go through these, find the little lugs. There's one there. There's quite a big one there. Again, if you're only small or a child, please get parental assistance with this. Don't try doing it yourself if you're using a knife. And certainly don't cut towards you like I am. Get that as close as we can. A little bit there. Nothing too much. A little bit there. I'm not be able to cut that off without damaging it, so I'm just going to apologies if I keep wandering off the screen. I'm trying to remember to keep low down to the, perhaps I could just bring it up a fraction, that might make it easier. Right, so there we go. Did I do these? I can't remember whether I've done these now. I've got a little bump there, so we'll massacre that. And that. I really don't like using this nail file. It's like It's a bit like using a jackhammer to put butter on bread. Oh, it's really not good at all. Right, and then we're going to just add number 2 halves going there. Let's do a dry fit once again without any glue. So we're just going to clip them together. It's not a very good fit at all. Right, we can see straight away it's a very poor fit. Probably going to need to shave just a fraction off that top corner there where it's not quite, it keeps popping out. Let me just check that this is not the, in theory they should both be identical on both sides, but they should only go on the one way, so there's no way of right, so let's just try and flatten that out a bit. To locate in tabs, and then just go along the edges. It's not so much important on the inside because the surfaces aren't going to touch on the inside, I don't think anyway. Yeah, so we've got a much better fit now. Except the holes don't match up very well at the front. It is a poor kit. You can see that the holes do not quite match properly at the front. But I can probably get a small drill and open them up a little bit. Let's try the other side. And see how they look. Yeah, that's looking better that side. We've got a better fit as well. Should be good. It does actually clip on quite well, but I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to put it around the other side again. And once more over the location tabs. And that in there. And we're good to go on that. Then we'll do a dry fit on the underside, just to make sure we're not going to come across any nasty bits and bobs. I'll just flex slightly. We can pop that over. We've not got a brilliant fit again, but I think it's probably down to the kit. I think that's supposed to clip in behind there. Yeah. Alright, see that that's right. This is going to need clamping. Let me just show you. So we've got a paw fit. It just snaps in there, which is great. We've got a little bit of small gaps either side, but I think we'll probably get away with using maybe some of this Revel contactor itself to fill that in. We might even mix that up with a little bit of chalk, just to give it some colouring so we can see where it's gone. But you can also see that when it snaps in, it's gone in well at the front, but the back's quite poor. You can get it down. If you push down on it, it will glue. It's just a case of spraying it, gluing it, and then clamping it down, and then we're going to have to leave it until the next episode and come back and see how well that has taken. So let's get plenty in there. Not too worried about having to clean this up at this stage now, because this has to go down. If it doesn't sit properly, then there's no point carrying on until this is right. So we've got a nice fit with the pressure there. So that's really where we want to be looking. So now this is the time we need to use one of our methods. I don't think tape will be good enough to hold it. The clamp might be perfect if it's not too strong. It's all dependent on this upper surface. So if we can hook that in there, if that stays there, yeah, that's great. So we've got got that clamp down on there like that. And you can see from the other side, you should be able to see that That's all nice and flush underneath. Let me get a bit closer, so come on, camera. There we go, all flush there. And then I think, do we need to add? Just going to run a tiny little bit of glue along them wing roots. Just where the just where that gap is. I'm going to leave it resting with that gap, and then down there. And we'll put a little bit in that gap on the top as well. So we want to seal that up on there. So we're just going around, closing all these gaps up, putting a little bit of this contactor in. And if we've got another clamp, preferably, where are they? Literally anything will do at this stage. So this time I'm going to use a big pair of tweezers, spring-loaded tweezers. And don't know what I've done with the glue top now, but I'll find that in a minute because oh, there we are. Ooh. Edit that out. Only kidding, and I can't edit it out, it's live. Don't want to glue the. So there we go. That's the another bit of the build done. Next time when we come back, we'll have a look at how well this has all gone down. We'll do a little bit of cleanup, and we'll get the wheels on the underside and the landing gear and little bits and pieces that need to go on. And then I do believe it's just a matter of painting then and putting some decals on. So I hope you've enjoyed the build. If you have, I'll put it up on my channel when the next one's going to be. I can't nail it down to a definite time at the moment because I tend to just do them when I've got the opportunity. I will try and get a regular slot going if the interest is shown, and hopefully we can progress past some of these early kits and maybe do a build on a bigger kit. I've got the Star Wars Moving Edition one, I can't remember the scale of it now, X-Wing, I know it's the X-Wing. It's a nice kit. Maybe we could do a video build of that because it's a Bandai kit. It'll go together well, and maybe I can introduce some questions and answers in the chat or whatever. Anyway, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.